Let's Talk Movie episode 13. Welcome everybody to another episode. Today we are talking about Bugonia, starring Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone, or maybe I should swip those. But in case you are here just for a spoiler-free discussion, we ain't talking no spoiler-free. We're diving deep into spoiler territory. So spoilers are ahead in 3, 2, 1. Almost put the 1 instead of the 2 to the 1 and the 1 to the 3. Just kidding. So, Begonia. My God, man. I had no expectation going into this. I said that in my review. If you haven't seen it, card is up here if you're on YouTube. If not, if you're on Spotify or etc., head over to youtube.com/Brandon Aries. But anyway, this was really good. And I also said that it was ironic that a film like this with such satire and subtle ways of exposing certain leaders, it's really good. It's really good. Again, I had no expectation of this. I thought this was going to be an independent like piece where it wasn't really going to have a lot of legs to go on. But damn, was I wrong. I was really wrong. Because Emma Stone was spectacular. Jesse Plemons, my God. And even with the dynamic with him and Don, I really enjoyed it. Parts of it gave me like Shia LaBeouf vibes. I'm forgetting what the movie's called at the moment, but the way Jesse Plemons' character interacts with Don, his cousin, was really good. And the visuals were stunning. And the fact that they added some, not just environmental, but audio distortions to that, whoo! I was having the time of my life. Like, this was the perfect film to wrap October with. Yes, it came out on Halloween. And yes, October for box office numbers showed the lowest numbers in history. I mean, you had films like Smashing Machine, Strangers Part 2. I believe even like Aries didn't generate as much as they thought. And even Black Phone 2. So October was a hard year. Hard month for box office. And I feel like as of late, going to the movies is just becoming taboo. Why? Get people back in the theaters, man. You got to get people to go out more. Everybody staying cooped up and just pirating everything. Where's that Dokes meme when you need it? You know, I'm watching you, pal. But going into Begonia, so you have these two. Well, it's more like 1.5 or one and an accessory, an accomplice of conspiracy theorists abduct Emma Stone's character, Melissa Fuller, a CEO of a company called Oxalith. And we'll get back to Oxalith and all the reason why we're in this story. So they abduct the CEO, Melissa Fuller, because they are convinced that she is an alien trying to take over the world. When I heard that, I was like, we better strap in because this is about to be a wild damn ride. And sure enough, it sure was. At a solid 2 hours, you're in for a hell of a ride. Because there's a lot of movies like this where times in between it'll get slow. This one didn't. This one has your attention the entire time. You are wondering, how's she an alien? First off, I mean, anybody would ask that question, right? How's she an alien? How do these people know what an alien is? And they're like, oh, well, we've done all this research and we've seen the facial structures and thermal scanning, da-da-da. Like, what? To the point where they had aluminum foil covering the windows? And even Emma Stone's character, there's a scene where she's like, it's clear that you're mentally ill. Like, you are self-professed off of things that you've consumed on the internet that are warping your perception, warping your perspective. Like you're not thinking straight on this. And then she just goes flat out and she's like, I've been keeping something from you. Yes, I'm an alien. And when she said that, I was like, oh, okay. It's like self preservation. Just tell them what they want to say, right? Or tell them what they want to hear, right? That's all it is. You wanna make sure you make it out of this. So just tell them what they want to hear. You're right. I am an alien. So with that admittance or admittal, I'm not sure what the right conjugation there is. They're like, "Oh, Your Majesty." But dude, they shock therapied her, and apparently she was giving off higher amounts of voltage that showed she was like royalty she was like of royal blood within this alien uh dynasty, alien bloodline. And I was like, what? It's so weird, but so captivating. You're there because you're like, okay, how the hell do they know what an alien looks like? How the hell can they just feel that? Because even in the beginning, when Don is asking, what's his name, Teddy, Jesse Plemons' character, when Don is asking Teddy, like, how do you know? He's like, it's like feeling, like when people, uh, what did he say? He said when people cook steak medium rare for so long, they don't have to cut into it. They don't have to check it anymore. They know, like they feel that it's medium rare. So Teddy felt in his lizard brain or whatever that Melissa, aka Emma Stone, is an alien. And I was like, what? How are we gonna know? How are they going to show us, the viewer, how she's an alien? Because that's BS, right? She's not actually an alien. And so I thought, all the way until Act 3. My God, dude. This was undeniably an amazing trip. And like I said, the pacing does not slow down at any point where you're getting bored. It has you there the entire time. At least it had me. And I just loved how, as Teddy is like so passionate, so emotionally charged in all this, because it is like for him, it's a mission. He wants to be part of the resistance of the human race. Whereas Emma Stone is a more so logical. She's cool. She's collected. She's compartmentalized. She's able to detach. And that dialogue, that back and forth between those two sides, Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons did a phenomenal, I love that word, phenomenal job with their dialogue, with their actions, and even opening the gauge around them of the curiosity of how it will play out. That I loved a lot, because when you don't know how a situation is going to play out, that's part of cinema, baby. So, going back to Oxalith. With Oxalith, there's history there. Not just with Teddy, but with Melissa. But also with Teddy and Melissa at the same time. Because Teddy's mother had a condition, right? Teddy's mother was going through some sort of like drug withdrawal process, and she needed a cure. They go to Oxalith. Something goes bad because it's a experimental treatment. She's floating. I was like, what? There's even a flashback where she's being held down Like there were multiple, I don't want to say like stakes or needles, but there were multiple points where she was secured down in a bathtub. And when Teddy removes all them, like a young Teddy, because it's a flashback, she starts to float. Then in the second flashback, Melissa is talking to Teddy, saying, like, hey, she was part of an experimental treatment. Uh, we don't want you to have to worry about paying for her treatment. You know, it's crazy expensive. It was on us, so her treatment is on us. Then we flash forward to our current situation, our current unfolding of what's happening. And she looks around at the at what's basically like a bunker for Teddy and his cousin. And she's like, clearly we didn't give you enough care, enough funding to not just take care of your mother, but just take care of yourself. She's like, I'm deeply sorry. Like, that's on us. You shouldn't have had to go through all this time just being by yourself. Now, let's backtrack a little bit. Teddy works for Oxalith still. He works in the receiving department. And there's people there like, oh, my head hurts or this and that, like something with OSHA. And he's like, I promise you, one day that's all going to change. And even with that, like there's subtle details like when Emma Stone is like, it's a new era. Like the camera was like right here on her. Letting us, the viewers, know too, like things are about to change. Things are about to unfold. I was like, ugh, I'm locked into this. Because it's really good. And even like the points where there's manipulation. Emotionally, physically, mentally. It really hits you. Because you're like, at a point you get to this track in your head of like, is she an alien? At this point, I don't really know. Are Teddy and Don really doing the right thing? Or no? You start to question both sides. Is Melissa really an alien? Are these people really part of a resistance to try and stop, quote unquote, aliens from killing the planet? Because that's their mission. They want to find these aliens, calling them Andromedons, to try and stop them from killing the planet. Emma Stone flips that entire thing up on its head in the third act. After she's already admitted she's an alien. She says to Teddy that there's a cure for her mother. And immediately I was like, you're bluffing. You're bluffing. All you're trying to do is stall for some time for you to escape. With that said, she goes, there's a cure for your mom. It's in the trunk of my car. You still have my car, right? Okay. So in the trunk of my car, I know it's a bottle that looks like and says antifreeze. Don't pay attention to that. In there is the actual cure for your mom. So what you're going to do is go to the hospital that your mom is at, give her the antifreeze, but it's not really antifreeze. It's like somemethyl hydrolycol. I don't actually remember, but it's actually this compound that will save her. And he's like, well, what if it doesn't work? And she's like, well, then she dies. So bro gets on a bike, on a freaking mongoose, and he's like crying frantically with the antifreeze to the hospital. And I was like, please don't tell me he's actually going to do this. He injects his mother's IV line with antifreeze. And I was like, oh. Bomba clot, yeah, idiot. Like, how did you fall for that? And I was thinking, like, oh, maybe the antifreeze will be like a different color. Like, maybe it'll be green or yellow to kind of show, like, hey, maybe it is the cure. Maybe she was actually trying to help. No. Then it turned like, oh my God. I didn't even remember about the police officer. So there was a police officer that I guess used to babysit Teddy and even bullied him, did some stuff that's questionable to him. So immediately they have like an odd relationship on the first encounter. He's like, "Oh man, like I really felt bad for what I did to you, and now that I'm a police officer, I'm all grown up, and I'm starting to see the error in my ways." Uh-uh. It comes back to bite him in the ass because he was like, "Oh, I'll stop by later." In the midst of the height of the first attempt to escape. So Don is downstairs with Melissa and they're just in the house. He's trying to get him away, but he's like, "Oh, can I have a piece of pie? I was really crappy to you when we were young, and like you were the only person. Like I didn't do that to anybody else." Meanwhile, he's got to deal with an alien downstairs. And he's like, "You want to see the bees? Let's go see the bees." And when that happens, Don decided to leave. He took the shotgun express. I was like, ah! That was like one of the biggest moments where my jaw was on the floor because they were just talking. She seemed like she really got to Don, like, we can escape. And when we escape, I can help you leave this place because he's like, I don't like it here. There's like things that I don't want to do anymore. Like, I want to leave this place. She's like, I can get you freedom. I can help you. And he's like, okay. Pow! It's like, what? I thought for sure, they got me. I thought for sure that he was going to help her escape and that Don was eventually going to turn and help Melissa. Sure enough, he didn't even help himself. He just chose to check out. And seeing the shot with all the blood just whoosh, right onto Emma Stone, I was like, whoa. And of course, outside with the bees, Teddy and his freaking former bully hear it. And Teddy's just like, well, cat's out of the bag now. Hits him with a shovel, kills him. So you got a cop car on your, like, right by your front porch now. You got someone in the basement with someone who just took the shotgun express out of here. And then you go over in a beekeeper costume, full of blood, on a mongoose with antifreeze to try and save your mother. But guess what? Ah! You killed her instead. And then after that, after she doesn't wake up because obviously you injected her IV with antifreeze, dumbass. He's frantically on the mongoose on the way back to the house, crying and everything like, I'm going to kill that alien. And during that time, oh my God, I can go on about this movie for a hot minute. During that time, right? She's like, she finds a secret compartment. And I was like, oh no. Tell me there were others. Tell me there were other subjects that he tried to find that were Andromedons. And she finds the jars with human remains. She finds notebooks and ledgers and 3D prints on the wall. And she's like, what the hell? They've been doing this for a while. And then he comes back. He has the shotgun and he's like, she's like, what have you done? How long has this been happening? How many aliens have you truly found out of all the people that you've killed? And he's like, two. I was like, the fact that you found two out of like the possible tens of people that you killed? Ish. And I was like, holy shit. Like, this guy's full blown nuts. In the beginning, when you hear his testimony and hear how he wants to try and stop it, you do kind of get like this all right, maybe he is trying to do something good. Maybe he is trying to be part of something bigger that other people might call him crazy for. Sure enough, he's a damn nut job. So she's like, all right, fine. You want me to communicate? You want me to set you up to connect with the rest of my alien people on the lunar eclipse? Let's do it on the lunar eclipse. But there's one way we can do it. And I was like, oh God. Tell me they're gonna do it at Oxalate. They do it at Oxalate. Ah! Of course, everybody's asking questions like, hey, you're back. You all right? And then she's like limping with a wig on, but they don't know that. And like getting into this part, you're like expecting the absolute worst. And sure enough, like it continues to get worse. It was like it was like a cinemized version of a Black Mirror episode. And damn it, there's no complaints because it was spectacular. So she's like, "All right, I gotta contact them. So shut the door in the office, close the blinds. It's just gonna be you and me. We're gonna try and talk to my people." Meanwhile, he's like on a freaking calculator. She's like, "I know it looks weird, but trust me." And so she's just like trying to stall. He's like, "Well, I had to be safe and precautious." Bro takes down his jacket and there's homemade explosives. I'm like, oh my God. Just when I thought that this couldn't get any more crazy, it ups the ante. And she's like, oh wow. Shit, he brought a damn explosive. That was really smart of you. Yeah, you gotta be smart. You can't be too cautious. She tells him to go into the closet. She's like, all right, the code's ready. He's like, well, I don't want you to just go in first to escape, so I'll go in first. He blows up in the closet. And then to find out when she goes back, because she got like knocked unconscious from the explosion, she ends up in the ambulance, gets out of the ambulance mid road, goes back to Oxalith, goes back into the closet. And this was, it actually works. She's an actual alien. And I was like, oh my, what an actual swerve. Like that she put all her cards on the table as she first admitted it without us even knowing. And then we get that payoff directly at the end. She was saying that the purpose of her people, the Andromedons, is to save humanity, to save people, to rid this sui ideology. I say that because I don't want to get like copyright or shadow banned or anything like that. Unalive, as some people call it. She's like, we're here to save humanity, not stop it. And she goes on about the different evolutions of the species, like the apes, etc., dinosaurs, whatever. And the ending is just it's so cathartic and it's so poetic because Teddy's mission was to stop the aliens from killing humanity. And with the end that we got, just putting a full cease of existence of the human race because there were still like dogs and cats walking around. I was like, oh my God. I was like, dang, am I about to do? Because that's what they looked like. It's like the end of Avengers, right? Where they put the bomb into the Chitauri base on space and all the Chitauri just freaking fall over. That's what it was like. And I was like, holy shit. And it ends. And I was like, what did I just watch? Damn, man, that was good, bro. That was such a good movie. A perfect way to end off not just Halloween, but end off October. Cause like, damn, man. On Letterboxd, I gave it a 4.5. 4.5 out of 5. And remember, I do have that list on Letterboxd still. Letterboxd.com/Brandon Aries if you want to check it out. But damn, man. This was really good. A lot of people are saying this could be possible Oscar conversations for both Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. For Jesse Plemons, I feel like a nomination is at least deserved. And as for Emma Stone, I feel like this could have Oscar contention. That's just my words. But I think it's possible. So let me know what all of you think about Begonia. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to get a discussion about this film because the metaphors and analogies that were put throughout, and even the full circle end with the bees. Damn, dude, this is another one of the best and one of the weirdest movies of the year. And maybe I'll do a video or a Let's Talk movie, just going over maybe towards the end of the year, like a year in review of some of the craziest movies we got. But that's going to do it for this episode of Let's Talk Movie. I hope you enjoyed. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace.